Okay. Hey, we're live, everyone. Thanks for joining. I'm Nick Baldwin, and today we're live in Command Your Conversion, and we are talking to four awesome agents within our Keller Williams organization who are pivoting and have pivoted very quickly in business to adapt to the way the market is going in the age of COVID-19. Whether you're essential in your state or non-essential, I think that going digital and diving more into video and diving more into 3D tours is going to be something that we all have to learn proper techniques around right now, no matter what your market looks like. And so I've got four really amazing agents on right now with me that are doing that at high levels. And I'm just going to let you guys introduce yourself so I don't screw that up. So let's start with Ken Pozek. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Ken. Where you're from, what your interests and hobbies are.
Hey, what's up? I'm Ken Pozek from Orlando, Florida. I run a team of 5 agents here. And yeah, we're kind of cruising through. We're technically essential here. And so we're still selling houses just in different ways. I'm excited to share.
Nice. All right, Jen, tell us about yourself.
I am Jen Davis. I am the CEO of Holt Homes Group out of Springfield, Missouri. Spent most of my time as a buyer's agent ahead of taking over as our CEO last year. Our team sells roughly 500 homes a year. We've got 6 agents. The rest are admin staff. We are also still considered essential. So we are still selling houses, still able to do some things in person. However, we pivoted to as much virtual as we could do about 5 weeks ago.
Very nice. Hey, Amanda.
Hey.
Thanks for being on. What's up? Tell us about yourself.
Yeah, I'm Amanda Camacho. I'm a managing partner and a realtor with the Hayes Camacho Group. The Hayes of the Camacho is Jessica Hayes, who is over in the Virginia, Reston area. So we decided to come to Keller Williams when it supported our need to work coast to coast. And that's just creeping up on a year now, and it's been an amazing experience. So I'm over in Sacramento, California, and I'm really excited to share how we've been pivoting. And some of it we've been working on in the past, and it really made us launch really quickly. So excited to see what everybody else is doing too.
Awesome. Greg, what's up, buddy? Tell us about yourself.
Sure. Yes, sir. I'm the co-owner of the Easy Referral Network. We service this entire state of Ohio with some expansion teams and offices. We also do have an expansion team in Philly. In Philly, we're not essential, and in the state of Ohio, we are an essential service. So my background's in technology in corporate America, and brought that over to real estate about 14 years ago, and been at Keller now for about 11 years, and just using technology and combining it with real estate.
Very nice. So I'm in Michigan. We are not essential. So I think a lot of the things that you guys are going to talk about are going to help agents regardless of whether or not real estate is considered essential. Because I think, in my opinion, and we'll talk about this more, whether you're essential or not, the consumer might still be a little nervous, right? And so I think you have to be empathetic to that and adapt to how they're feeling. So let's just kind of talk about right now how you guys are leveraging video. Are all of you leveraging video right now? Have you all been leveraging video in the past? You have? All right, so Ken, talk to us about how you're leveraging video in the past and what you're doing now with that.
So what's interesting is we're in 50% of our market is resort homes. And so a lot of our buyers were already asking for virtual tours, months and months and years ago. And so it's something that we didn't really have to pivot a ton to, except now we're doing a lot more. And so explaining the area to people, we're always doing area tours on our YouTube channel. So now it's like, okay, we're doing area tours, we're doing specific model tours, and we're selling houses. We sold 3 over the weekend, all virtually. And now we're just having to adjust, inspection times and closing times and that sort of thing. So that's sort of been where we've been and where we're doing now.
And so you're in Orlando, right? So Orlando is going through quite a time now with Disney furloughing a lot of their employees. And so is that area a big Airbnb area? Because I remember you were telling me that you're getting some calls from owners that own Airbnbs.
Yeah, we've got a lot. I mean, I listed two last week that are just like, hey, we had all of our bookings cancel for the next 120 days. And so that's, essentially we have to go in our pocket and start making the mortgage payment now, which we can't afford to do. And so we need you to list it and sell it as quick as possible. And I'm like, yeah, okay, that's going to be interesting because there's a lot of those people that are in that position, but that's the resort market. And then we have like our downtown and suburban markets where we're still seeing multiple offers, and it's still kind of hard to get great houses at a good price. And so it's kind of interesting to see the two markets and how they're playing off one another. But yeah, it's just kind of rolling with it as much as we can.
That's interesting. And so you've always done a lot of video. And how are you kind of pivoting the video that you're doing now? Are you pivoting at all and doing a different take on it? Or is it a lot of the similar home tours? What's it look like for you?
So it used to be something that we would only do at a certain price point and only a certain kind of like area. Now we're just doing video on everything, just to kind of give as much exposure for our sellers as possible. And it's not something that that's even an option anymore. It's something that we have to do, is make sure that we're exposing it as good as possible for our sellers and really giving them the service that they need in this time. And if they can stand out just a little bit more, then I think that we're going to win as the realtor.
Nice. So, Jen, you said that you did video before. You're still doing video now. What type of video did you do before, and has any of that changed in the current atmosphere?
Yeah, I think we've done a lot of like the virtual buyer consults, these types of things we were doing ahead of this. We were doing FaceTime showings. What we're doing now, though, is we're providing a video for every listing, regardless of price point, kind of very similar to what Ken said. So what we're seeing is our customer service level has jumped up, right? So when we're doing those care calls and we're talking to either our database or we're talking to our sellers, what we're doing is we're meeting them where they're at. We're making sure that we're offering the service that they're comfortable with. And whether that's us taking the video, sending somebody in to take the video, or actually leveraging the seller to take the video. What we've discovered is that some of the sellers, they still want to be on the market and they may not want someone in their home. Of course, we want to meet them where they are, and we want to make sure that they understand that their safety and health is our top priority. So we're explaining to them in a step-by-step how to take a video. How do you take a great video, getting it to us, and then we can put it out there in a more maybe professional way. And so what we found is the interesting part of it is their condition, things sell based on price, condition, or location. Their condition is going up. They have time to do the projects. And when they're on the other side of that camera, now they're seeing it in the buyer's eyes. And so all of the condition, all of the little things that we talk to them about cleaning up and those types of things, all of a sudden that's happening at a much faster pace because they're seeing it from the buyer's perspective.
That makes a lot of sense. So Jen, I just want to touch on real quick. You did mention something important. So people are still kind of weary about, especially sellers, I would assume, of having people come into their home, right? Regardless of essential or non-essential. And so is that where you are leveraging the videos the most? If that's the case, if someone says, I want to list my house, but I don't know if I want to have people in and out of my house at a high level. Are you doing Matterport tours? Are you capturing more of the home? What's your take? And anybody can obviously answer that too. Like, because Matterport will get all of are you doing more of that?
We are doing more of the Matterport. And again, it's different now than it was, where maybe that would have been a service offered for a different price point, where now we're offering it for every listing. And I guess when we talk about people that are concerned or scared, and when I say we're meeting them where they're at, we're isolating what the objection is. We're not trying to trick anybody into doing anything. However, we are listening. We're listening to what they're saying, and we're isolating what the fear is. Is the fear financial? Is the fear health? And then how do we overcome that? If that's video, if that's additional photos, if that's making sure that people maybe have driven past, the exterior, maybe we're doing some more drone footage now so that they can see the neighboring houses, they can see the subdivision. You can have a drone fly over and show what the whole layout looks like all around the house. We're able to really only bring people into the home that are ready, willing, and able, and they're only looking at that one house.
Yeah, I love that that insight. Greg and Amanda, Amanda, you've got like some crazy setup that I'm going to get into in a minute when you're doing your 3D tours. But Greg, I've noticed online that you guys have now just kind of created this whole digital marketing, these ads that you're putting out, this whole website dedicated to it. Can you talk a little bit about what that looks like?
Yeah. So, well, essentially our team about a year ago Mike and I went to Gary Keller's mastermind, talked about vertical integration of your businesses, right? So we do sell about 600 listings a year. And with that, there was this void or this challenge that we had where you always had to go outsource. We were outsourcing all our video and all of our Matterport and all of our drone. So with his mindset of, building a business within the business. So we created Easy Media Productions. And with that, we brought everything in-house. And so we have a crew of about 9 people that create the video. We have editors, we do the video, and we're trying to perfect it so that we're in control of the resource. And then from that, we're able to offer basically our innovation. When I say a year ago, it was in April, it's now everyone's expectation. So we're very fortunate as you roll into where we are today. That was very future focus type of a solution, which is now the expectation. So no, it's not going away anytime soon. You have to master it. As a realtor, your job is to market a home. And if you don't have a marketing company or marketing prowess within your mindset, you're going to be in trouble. I think that's what the homeowners are looking for, is who can outmarket my home? Who is the best marketer of my home through technology? And video is obviously not the future. It's now. So what we've done, I'm sorry to answer your question more specifically, is created virtual flyers, and that incorporates the video, the Matterport. We do that through Command single site. It's just a single site, what we call virtual brochure, virtual flyer. We stole that from you at some point in one of your classes, and then I pretend it's my idea.
It's fine. Listen, I don't need credit for anything, Greg.
My team loves me for that. And then and put the market snap in there, and then it's a really nice solution because paper flyers just sat there anyway. Now you've got something that can be used for relocation. Talked to a COO the other day, and he loved the virtual flyer we did for him. And he's like, God, I wish I would have had that, because it puts everything into one location much better than Zillow does or anybody else. So we're adding value. Sorry for rambling on, but hopefully I answered your question.
No, don't. You're good. You're not rambling at all. That's a great answer. So yeah, like I'm seeing, you have an in-house, media studio. Ken, you have do you still have your content guy that you work with?
Yeah, for sure. So I've got basically a few days a month. I've got my videographer / editor. And so we're still putting out content, in terms of inbound lead stuff, but then he's also helping me focus on our listings as well.
Nice. So Amanda, let's talk to you for a minute. I'm seeing what you're doing online, and you've got a whole setup, with a green screen, and you have the lights, and you're doing a lot of stuff with Matterport. Talk to us about how you're doing it, because I feel like you're doing it differently in the sense that you've got the 3D tour behind you and you're walking people through the 3D tour. Is that what it looks like you're doing?
So essentially it gives that effect. And I love how you described my setup being amazing, because I'm not at the point now where I can hire the media team like Ken and Greg did, but I figured out that green screen can be a tablecloth cover from Walmart's birthday center and cute lamps from Target pointing right at me. That's all you need to get started, and just use what you got and put it forward. So what I did is I put a picture of the inside of my listing behind me in a way where it gave the effect that I was inside the house. So when I did the video as the intro, that's kind of the effect that it was. And then I just screen shared my Matterport. And I walked through it, pointed out features. Then I went back to my screen where they saw me in the house and kind of signed off. And I used this as a coming soon experience. So I ran this as an ad about 24 hours before, because here in California, we're not allowed to market our properties unless we're gonna be on market in 24 hours. So I just utilized it as a full-on coming soon experience. More importantly than everybody thinking it was fun and cool is that my seller really felt like wow, we're just thinking of amazing ways to still be at it. Of course, he was a little bit nervous going on market, but I told him, with the connections that we have, we're finding all kinds of incredible ways to get this done, and to just show him the results, to show him the views that we had, the leads that we got, the conversations that we had from it. It was a good result for him. So made my client feel great.
So I just want to mention, because, Amanda made a good point. You don't have to spend a lot of money for this. You get like a green bed sheet, right, or tablecloth from like Party City or Walmart, and you get a couple lamps that point at you, right? If you don't want to buy a ring light for $100, get a lamp, from Target, and there you go. You have your home studio. And if you're using Zoom, you can make the Matterport your background and then walk around it as if you're in the house itself. And that's a really creative way to do it, because it gives the impression that you're physically there. So I love that take. I haven't seen anyone else do that specifically. What I have seen is I've seen Zoom tours where you have the agent on one side and the seller on the other with the phone walking through it and things of that nature. So there's lots of different ways to do it. And when you get to the point that Greg is at and you hire a whole department, that stuff doesn't happen overnight. So don't feel like, oh my gosh, I can't do it unless I'm Greg. You can do it as anybody, right? You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. So talk about, Jen, you touched on this before. Anybody can comment. You're doing buyer and seller consultations, and who's doing them other than Jen? Who's doing them via FaceTime or Zoom? Who's doing them at that level, and what's that look like for you?
Well, it's interesting. We have an ISA, OSA department, and we've always looked at them as that they were kind of the ones setting the production people up for success, right? And the interesting thing about this is that when we're doing, whether it's buyer consults or a listing consult, the pass is happening so fast that we're forward pacing people through this so quickly. So the ISA gets a great lead. They set up the Zoom call, the agent jumps on, and now they're really partnering. So the person that brought in the lead is partnering with the agent. And what we're doing is we're seeing that we have the ability to convert people at a higher level much faster. So, when Gary talked about at Mega Agent, I think that, somebody coming into your funnel is potentially 19 months out. What's happening now is it's moving much faster than that. And so when we're doing these virtual consults, I learned this from a MAPS coach. What we're trying to replicate is building that rapport very quickly with the buyer or seller. So we're able to make some adjustments. If Amanda was the one that I was doing the consult with, I would say, hey, Amanda, can you adjust your screen a little bit? I can't quite see it. And so we're having her move her screen down so we can see her arms and how she adjusts her body language. So we're not just seeing, this floating head kind of thing. We're getting to the point where it feels very personal, and we're able to meet that buyer or seller almost immediately. It's instantaneous from when the lead comes in. The interesting part of it, though, is I was talking to somebody else, and it almost does the heavy lifting on getting the agreement signed, right? So if we're doing this through Zoom and we're doing a great job and we're sharing our screen with our documents, whether that's a buyer brokerage agreement or listing paperwork, it forward paces them to sign the document. You're not getting the objection of why not to sign now. And we can say, hey, Amanda, I just want to make sure that we don't have any technical difficulties. If you want to just click through and sign here while we're on the phone, then I can answer any questions that you might have. So what we're seeing is that this pipeline is really robust, and people are moving through it faster because we're able to offer a virtual solution, and they're available now. I mean, our contact rate is through the roof. So it's interesting, the adjustments that we can make very quickly on these types of things to set ourselves up as the expert. And I do think clients like it. I think they like kind of the on-demand feel of a buyer consult or listing appointment.
You made a good point there, because there's a difference between being on demand in the sense of being able to jump on FaceTime or Zoom compared to being on demand and meeting them at a property, right, for the first time. Very different.
Well,
good.
and it goes much faster. So a listing appointment that maybe takes 60 to 75 minutes is now taking 30 minutes. So for somebody that's a high D, it is moving things pretty quickly. A buyer consult, instead of being an hour, is 30 minutes. And we're looking at this and we're offering the same great service. It just eliminates some of that awkwardness of when somebody comes in your office or you meet them at a coffee shop to do these consults. So it's interesting how much people are at ease because they're in their home environment. And I think that puts everybody on a level playing field. And it's an interesting dynamic. And I don't know that we'll go back to doing consults in person.
By the way, I'm not going to say too much about this, but just be aware of an update coming on our app in the next several weeks that will streamline this process. That's all I'm going to say.
That's exciting.
So get excited about it. How are some of the rest of you doing buyer or seller consults via Zoom or FaceTime?
Yeah, I was able to successfully help a veteran client, a VA client. He was on his way over. We actually first met when he was still in Iraq. And so we did our FaceTime with him over there. And then his family was in Texas, moving to Northern California over this way. So we did our entire transaction digitally, and that was in January. And so I thought it was really fun. And I was like, wow, if I could just get more people on board, this could help. We have a lot of people, I'm sure many of you have heard, coming from the Bay Area to our area of Northern California. And so here in Sacramento, to be able to, I think what's most exciting about this time is that people are more open to this idea now. Before it was digitally, I think that maybe they felt like it was almost a lazy factor, that we just wanted to meet digitally and get you off. But now it's like, no, this is very convenient. And I like that it's actually changing the mindset on how we can connect. And so now I can be able to really help clients anywhere in California, and it bridges the gap between me and my referral partners, because now I don't have to one-off and send somebody. We can work together. We can still be a part of the transactions. I like the conversations I'm having. I like the connection that it's bringing. So I think there's a lot of positives. And like Jen said, we're not going to go back. This is going to be our standard. I think offering Matterports and video tours, no matter the listing, is important. I think now people are just going to expect it. So we all have to adapt to that and make the change. And I think it's good.
Yeah, that brings me to my next question. Greg, I'll go to you. So with everything that we're doing with Matterport and video, and we're doing it, I think more, I think we have to do it more now than ever. Do you think, and by the way, and in certain areas, just because shelter in place might be listed, I feel like if I was a seller, I'm not going to be like, oh, they lifted shelter in place. Great, I'm putting my house in the market and let everybody in. That's not going to be the case, right? Mm-hmm. Just because shelter in place is lifted, people aren't going to be like, oh, let's list our house and let 100 people in 1 2 hour period during an open house. So, Greg, do you feel that what you guys are doing now is going to be the new normal, or the new normal for a while, or going to be something that consumers can now have a choice between physical and digital?
I think a lot of realtors in the past were kind of hoping their clients wouldn't ask for the Matterport because they didn't either have it or want to spend the $400 or $300 to do it. Again, that's why we brought it in-house. So I think it's an investment that everybody should consider. You can actually call Matterport. It takes about an hour and a half and they'll put you on a waiting list, but there's the possibility of getting one. There's also some really inexpensive solutions out there too. But you've got to come up with some solution. The short answer is yes, this is going to be forever. This is a forever thing because the cat's out of the bag. In the past, you were hoping the homeowner wouldn't ask about it. All the homeowners know it exists now, right? And so it's an expectation. It is not an innovation. It is, so some of the changes we've done to our current solution is with Matterport, you can do so many spots along the way. We've now, instead of doing, let's say 50, we're doing 100 circles to really let the people get, and we're going in the closets, even if it just doesn't matter because it's a functional thing as opposed to a sale. Isn't this neat? You can kind of go through, but now it's a necessity to go through. So I don't see it ever going away. It's just an absolute expectation. So I'd say it's something you'd want to budget You'd want to come up with a solution. And there's a lot of inexpensive ways to do this. And you just continue to upgrade your technology, upgrade your pieces. So we started, for example, with our media company with GoPro Black camera, right? So it's a couple hundred, $400 or $500, but you could even, if you don't have that, then you can still go on eBay or you can get a used. And then we've moved all the way up to, a high-end mirrorless Sony digital camera that does videography. And at some point we want to go up after that. So it's just something I think people should get in their mindset, because it's not going away. It's going to be the expectation. So that's the longest way I could answer your short question.
Well, Greg, I just checked because before we jumped on the call, I've been running some ads with Greg in his command account with a Matterport landing page. And Greg, you have 19 leads. I just didn't know if you noticed you have 19 leads. All right, cool. Yeah. So the ad is advertising a 3D tour, right? And he's got 19 leads. I think we just started the ad. When did I start the ad? Thursday, Friday?
Friday, I think. Yeah.
Friday?
And that's a $1 million listing, which, by the way, I'm in Cleveland, Ohio. So that's big money. A $1 million house. Yeah. So anyway.
So that's huge.
But no, so 10 leads off, that's a big deal. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah, you have 19s. That's a big deal. But, I'm running one for my mother in New Jersey, and, New Jersey is still, I guess, sort of essential. They're confused, or they're not really sure, but she has a new listing for about $1 million that had 25 showings when it should have had 100 in a regular market, right? And so I'm running an ad right now advertising a 3D tour. I just started it last night. We've got 3 leads that are coming in, but the ad is advertising, see this house without leaving your couch. So I want to talk about being also being empathetic and not being tone deaf, right? Being aware of what people want. So in your campaigns, in your ads, are you reflecting the current narrative? Are you putting forward the ability to see these homes without physically getting up to go see them? Are you guys doing that?
Yeah, I joined a Canva group for realtors, which has been really interesting. And they kind of been tossing around this one example where you put your video inside of a computer screen or on a screen and you share some information about the property. And so I've just been sharing some information about our digital version, and, reach out to us for any virtual tours. We can make it look like this and put that ad out there. And a lot of people love interacting with it. And definitely the conversation in a lot of our marketing pieces has turned to check it out virtually, no need to leave from home. If you'd like to have a direct conversation with the agent and just get right to the source, some of those, which I think might limit some of the number of leads you get, but I think the people who are opting in to have those conversations are much better leads. So to me, I'm offering more about the property. I'm giving the listing price. I'm giving the information about the house. I'm actually giving some information about finding the property itself and all the details. And what I'm encouraging people for my call to action is to inquire about scheduling a personal one-on-one tour, inquire about having a 10-minute chat with an agent just to qualify the house to see if it meets your needs. And to have those conversations, I really don't want to chat with people who just want to take a look at pictures or just wanted to see it, if they like the backyard. They can look all of that on Zillow. I want to have conversations with people that want to have next step conversations. So to me, if I deliver my ad in a way where I'm cutting out the fat, so to speak, by just delivering what they want, I feel like that has changed the way that I deliver, because we're kind of having to deliver more online, but it's making the conversations better.
Yeah, that's actually a great point. Hey, Jen, there's some questions people are asking you about your care calls.
So,
we want to talk about that?
Absolutely. It's the easiest call that you can make, right? So we are making care calls through our database. So that means the admin on our team, the agents on our team, ISAs, OSAs, we are going through, and I referenced it earlier, we're meeting our people where they are. So We're not calling to sell them anything. We're not calling to do anything but just check in and be a solution. So if they need something, we're asking how we can fulfill a need. So if they need toilet paper or Clorox wipes or those types of things, we're going to connect them to the product. We're going to make sure that they can have what they need. And it's Tommy Choi talks a lot about making deposits into people's life. Right now, that this is the time to do that. So what we're doing is we're calling and we're just saying, hey, Nick, it's Jen. I just wanted to check in on you. How are you? How's your wife doing? Is she feeling better? We're letting them know that we're paying attention to things going on in their life, and we're chatting with them. We're talking to them about what we've seen on social media. Do they need anything? If so, what? Or do they know of a need in the community that we could help with, whatever that might be? And then the conversation always comes around to real estate, right? They always ask, how's the market? How are you guys doing? How are your kids doing? Because we have a relationship with them. And so what we're doing right now is we're just making sure that we're present. And, Amanda referenced making some changes in, their ads and marketing and those types of things. It's shift tactic 4. Our message matches the market of the moment, right? So we're making sure that our message is appropriate, and that when we're talking to people, we're listening to what their concerns are, what they may need help with, and those are the conversations we're having.
Well, first of all, if you're offering to go get them toilet paper, are you charging a 6% commission on that? Because toilet paper is going for, it's more important than gold. It's more expensive than gold right now. I just want to make sure. No, I'm just kidding.
Yes.
Where are you getting that toilet paper? Are you making it yourself?
I am.
Awesome.
My kids, those are their homework projects, is making toilet paper right now.
I love it.
I'm running a sweatshop in Springfield, Missouri. Yeah.
Okay. So there's a lot of questions about, listen, we know the Matterport's expensive, right? If you want to buy one, it's like about $5,000. If you want to hire your photographer to do it, it could be as much as $300-400 a pop. Greg, you mentioned a lesser expensive camera. What are some other cameras that people can invest in that can essentially do the same thing? Obviously, it's not as fancy, but could essentially get the job done.
Right, and so there's different categories. Thanks, Len. It looks like he put out that I can never think of it, and I can't pronounce it. The Rourke 360 camera, the RI.
Is it a Ricoh?
Ricoh, is that it? Sorry. I can say Sony, so that's what I go with. But no, when you're looking at the 360 part of it, that's a good solution. I think it comes in at like $250 or $350. So we started with that. And then you also have, like I said, the GoPros. The GoPros are great, and if because they give you that wide angle if you need that. Put it on a gimbal though. Don't try to walk around, but it usually has a self-stabilizer in it. So that's a pretty inexpensive solution. Plus, it's fun to have at home just for fun. And then you're using iMovie instead of Final Cut Pro or anything, right? So iMovie is very simple. Just as long as you're out there trying, I think the consumers will appreciate it. So those are some solutions, and that's how we started. And then I just decided to kick it up a notch and really invest, more into a in-house, higher end, more expensive solution, and just top grade each product as you go along. It works.
Also, by the way, the Ricoh 360 or the Ricoh Theta, that one can stream live to Facebook through Bluetooth on your phone. So that could be an event that you could set up and promote that event through a sponsored ad for a virtual 360-degree open house. I also have a GoPro, and it does have a self-stabilizer, and it was about $350, and that can stream live to Facebook as well. So it does have the wide angle, and it really gives you an immersive experience. There's some people asking to see some ads, and so I just want to share my screen real quick to show you that this is a current ad that I'm running in New Jersey for my mother for her new listing. And it basically says, fall in love with simply the delightful 2,100 square foot Tudor cottage without leaving your couch. Take a 3D tour of every inch of it as if you were there by clicking learn more below. So we've got 5 photos here. I made this through command, and it's a lead capture page, and it captures their name, phone number, and email, and then it brings them right to the Matterport tour, and they can look at it on their phone, their tablet, wherever they're at. This is also a page that I made for Ken. because I ran some ads for Ken down in Orlando for a listing that he had, and I made this through landing pages. And Greg, we're doing similar things with you. And so it starts off with a market snapshot of Celebration, Florida, and that brings you to a single property landing page of the home itself. And then you obviously have all the beautiful pictures of the home. And then down here, there's information from the MLS and a map. And then I put one of Ken's videos in here. And this was a good one because Ken, in this one, you kind of took people through the house as if you were showing them one-to-one. Like, you're like, you know, come into the kitchen. And then, you know, it looks as if you're talking directly to the person like they're a buyer and you're the agent giving them a tour. So it's done very effectively, and it's a really nice touch. And I just took this link from YouTube and embedded it into the landing page. And then down here, there's just some calls to action that people can download your app or request more information. And with this, Ken got 3 qualified buyers. He got one who's pre-approved for $400,000, wants to buy in July, and then 2 more who want to buy within the next 12 months. And we all know that that's probably about 6 months. So that was a successful campaign, and I spent $25 and he got 18 leads. So, hey, listen, you know, I'm gonna use in that 25% referral, Ken. You better keep me in the loop, buddy.
You know I will, man, for sure. But like one of the things, so go ahead.
Yeah, no, you go ahead.
No, I was gonna say a lot of
the you first.
Okay, I'll go. So, so the video that we did there, we're starting to do that on all of our listings now. And so the cool thing about, like, whether it's Zillow or your own landing pages, like Zillow used to have very strict rules on having the agent in the video. Like they had only a certain amount of time you were allowed to be in the video. They've relaxed that, if you guys don't know. And so doing a full walkthrough and like explaining, this is why I love the house, this is the features of the house, getting really detailed, you're allowed to upload those now and get a little bit more viewership. I think it's going to be good for your sellers as you kind of maintain that one-on-one view instead of just like, you know, here, let me pan over the room and nobody cares, right?
So Ken, talk to me about when those leads came in for that ad and you were able to really qualify 3 of them. What were those conversations like that you had with those people?
Yeah, it's just really, you know, some of them were just, hey, I'm searching around. I was actually surprised at how the quality of the data, like the phone numbers were really good. The emails all seemed to, you know, none of them bounced back. So that was really cool. Some people were just searching around. Obviously, they wanted to get a little bit deeper into what was going on in the market. And then a few of them were like, no, we're renting right now. As soon as all of this is over, we're ready to buy. So. Nice.
Okay. So that was awesome. And they appreciated, like, have you gotten any feedback on, you know, the fact that you're delivering what the consumer wants at this point with like more of an immersive experience with video?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we've done a really good job with the video to begin with, you know, just on and on. And that's really like, we get a higher converting buyer lead when they feel like they've actually been through the house. They've actually done a little bit more due diligence looking online instead of just, hey, I saw some photos and a price, right? They like, hey, no, I know this model. I feel like I know this house because I feel like I've been there. I feel like it's a much more quality buyer lead than just somebody clicking around on Realtor.com or Zillow.
Love it. So I want to ask you guys, and I want you all to answer this. With Zillow, is pulling back. They've completely pulled back on their iBuyer model. They've cut their cut their zip codes in half by like 50% in terms of how much it costs for agents to buy that. Zillow was born out of a down market, right? And it took advantage of that situation. And so they really haven't proven themselves in a market that's troubled, right? Granted, this didn't start out as a financial crisis where I feel like it's obviously going to be, but within like a week of quarantine, they cut costs on a lot of their value propositions direct to consumer, right? So with what you guys are offering, do you feel that this is going to help position agents to be more important in the eye of the consumer, as opposed to bypassing them and selling their home to Zillow and going through those other channels?
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Cool. Thanks, Greg. No.
I mean, it's already happening. And I guess I made it through the 2008 housing market crash, right? So I just expected it. I waited. I mean, we knew it was going to happen, and all of the fly-by-night ideas and the fancy ideas and the little companies that are coming out being all this and that let's get rid of the realtors and stuff. It's sort of like, I go back to when I worked in corporate America, we were all doing, there was a time about 14 years ago, E-Trade was going to put out financial planners and stuff, right? This is people's net worth that they're talking about. So I don't trust myself to jump on an E-Trade and just start guessing at which stocks based on, do they give me all the information? Sure they do, but I need help. I need guidance. I need a tour guide. I need somebody with me. This isn't all I do for a living. And I think that's where they're all falling off right now, especially when it gets troubled, and the times are troubled right now, and they need what we have. And Zillow will never be able to tell them that the pool next door has algae in it, or it smells of cat pee in the lower level. This area has been known for, this challenge or the smog or whatever it is. Zillow's never really going to be able to do that. It's always going to need the human contact of a realtor. So I think this is just one of those times where it's going to prove it. When it gets easy, these guys come out like in 2006. And when it gets tough, they all go away for about 5 to 7 years. And then they'll come back again. And that's my
way, shape, or form.
Coming out.
Yeah, this article I was reading in the Wall Street Journal yesterday, specifically about Airbnb. And these business models are obviously good business models, right? But some of them are in the moment business models, right? And so they don't have like they don't have an infinite game like Simon Sinek's book is about. And as agents, because we've been around for over 100 years, we're not an in the moment business model. We can change just like that. We don't need to consult our venture capitalists, and have funding pulled. We can continue to adapt and bring the value. So what do you guys think about how this is going to kind of pivot the way the consumer sees the agent? Let's talk to some of the other guys here. So any of you jump in, let me know.
I think the way the consumer sees the agent will change because the way we deliver the message on how we're important is going to change. I think that they'll respond because we'll make more effort to put ourselves out there and explain our process, especially when we see that all of our agent friends are on social a lot more. And I think a lot of people do realize the importance of a realtor, even when they work as a FSBO or, with an iBuyer, and they usually realize the importance of that realtor when they're in contract and they're going through some things and they can't get out of it. So if we just take some more time to share how we create solutions, be a little bit more open to share the ups and the downs of real estate and not just share the just sold and help my happy family and they're on their way to their picture perfect life now. If we just share the whole story, I think people are going to be more open to, wow, that's why they needed the realtor, because that would happen. What would I have done in that situation? And I think that our conversation will change because the way we deliver our value is going to be a little different.
Well, I think you're right. I think, you look at it and conversion is the highest skill set, right? And our conversion is in direct correlation to the quality of conversations that we have. And so when we're making these care calls that we talk about, or you're changing your message to match your market, what's happening is we're going to occupy this space that maybe we had let slide to Zillow and some of these other companies. We're going to go back and we're going to take that space back. And that's the ability that we have right now. And that's the opportunity that's there right now. And so, we've made adjustments on our team very quickly. So we went from survival mode to thriving very quickly. And the reason we're able to do that is because the consumer is still at the heart of the experience, and we still love people, and we're in a people business. So for us, I absolutely think this is the opportunity for us to shine. We've capped out myself and the 2 showing agents. We were selling 225 houses a year on the buy side. So we were half of our production. This will be what pushes us to 300 on the buy side, because we're willing to have those conversations with every person in our database and any person that enters our database. And it's the chance to make this the human connection piece again. And how lucky are we that we have these this technology that we can be face to face? Because in 2007, 2008, if this would have been that shift, it would have been totally different. We still have the ability to connect with people, and that's the leverage for technology. It's a great opportunity to take back that space and have the opportunity to move forward.
That's so good. Hey, Ken, real quick, someone has a question that you could probably answer. Donna, she says that she's in a vacation property market. There's obviously a lot of Airbnbs. What would be the best approach to take to find out whether or not they need your help?
So we increased our direct mail, believe it or not. I know this is all about tech and that sort of thing, but like we increased our direct mail
Wait,
to a lot of
direct mail, is that like pieces of paper
like
that you put?
actual physical pieces of paper. Yeah, go
Oh my
figure, right?
gosh.
And
Is this
so
the right webinar? No, I'm just
I
kidding.
know, right? But the biggest, I mean, they do need a lot of help, and like a lot of their phone numbers, we've tried to get great data for, and unfortunately, they're not out there for us to be able to cold call. So our messaging is just really like, hey, listen, the market has shifted. We understand that you might be in a tough spot right now, but we can help, and here's how. And so we are utilizing technology to do all of these kind of things in order to get you what you're looking for, which is a lot of times get out of this hole in your pocket. And so that's a big piece. And also just to kind of piggyback on the other question you were asking about, I'm hoping that, as we look at iBuyers and how Zillow and how us as agents shift, I think it's going to be, I've been looking for the opportunity here. I've been like, as soon as this happened, I said, okay, without being too coarse or too callous to the situation, what's the opportunity? And I feel like being able to level up as agents with using these technology and getting one-on-one, that's how you're going to take more market share as we come out of this. And hopefully, like us as an industry, we level up to where people aren't going to be chasing the new thing that, the new program that Zillow or Redfin or whomever are offering. And so that's what me and my team, that's what we're focused on.
Hey, so what you were saying is you're doing mailings. Are you doing postcards? I find when you're doing that type of stuff, maybe typed out letters might be better. What do you think?
Yeah, so we're doing just the jumbo postcards at this point.
Okay,
And
cool.
we're doing like very specific market reports for this specific area. So it's not just like all of Orlando, it's just specific zip code. And then we're targeting the market of like, we're being really good on our data on, they've owned this property for a certain amount of time. So they're equity sellers, and then we're speaking to them specifically where they're at.
Awesome. So we're just about out of time. We got about 3 or 4 minutes. I know everyone's a little nervous. People agents are scared, and I think a lot of times when you get scared, you get frozen, and you can't really come up with solutions, right? And you guys did that without skipping a beat. What's something you could tell an agent right now that could kind of get them out of their kind of out of the frightened mindset that they're in right now and start leveraging this stuff? So a little piece of advice or motivation.
I think for me, it's, when production is high, anxiety is low. So find somebody to call and build your day around that. If you don't have the ability, a big team that, has Clorox wipes or toilet paper or anything like that, still make the calls. People want to be heard. They want somebody to listen to, and that connection piece with your database, that would be the one piece of advice is the more you call and the more your day is structured, the better you will feel. And at the end of the day, you'll feel like you had some control over your environment.
That's real. I love it. That's very good.
Our coach told us a really awesome quote. Any problem that you can work your way out of is not a problem. And so day one, we decided to work, and we worked really hard. We had no idea where we were going. There was no light at the end of the tunnel. It was completely pitch black, but we all made a decision. We're going to work our butts off. And the second point I would make, so just keep working. And I think we can all agree there's a light at the end of the tunnel. So let's move towards that light. The second point was, if it doesn't have, Rich Schulman's agent on his team taught me this. If you don't post it, it never happened. So if you have a solution of any kind for this virtual safe world that we're in now, you better get it marketed and post. So Ken made up a great point. He said he's telling people through print media, but the point is you have to tell the world you have a solution. So if you didn't post it, it never happened. You got to get out there and tell the world you have solutions.
I agree with what Greg says there. One of my favorite sayings actually is those that bear the most light are often sent into the darkness. And so when you are creative, you're going to probably find yourself in a lot of problem finding solutions. So I would say for agents, especially if maybe you're newer and you haven't had sales behind you, look at the questions going out there and create some content that answers questions. Everyone is answering or asking questions on your local groups, on social media. Just be the solution, like Greg said, and come with the answers.
Yeah, I was, it's interesting because I see and hear a lot of agents saying that, you know, this type of real estate can't be done, can't be done, can't be done, can't be done. I'm going to say two things. One, it can, from experience. I bought my house in Michigan that I sit in right now through FaceTime because I lived in New Jersey and I couldn't physically go see it. The first time I saw it was at the home inspection. So yes, it can be. Second, well, this is in addition to that, the vacation markets, right? Or second home markets or Airbnb markets, those agents do this all the time. They're sitting there like, really? People are just catching up, right? This is something that people have been doing for years. And you say it can't be done because you are having limiting belief around that, right? We have people here who are doing it. We have people who are putting homes under contract through virtual open houses, through virtual showings. You know, you have agents getting their sellers on board with Zoom, and they're scheduling, you know, 4 or 5 buyers at a time to jump on a Zoom call with the agent and the seller walking through the home. These are things that, yes, you can very well do. And listen, we're going to have to make some changes to certain addendums in a contract, right? Like, you know, if you're buying a house and you can't physically go see it, in the addendum, hey, if the house smells like cat piss when I come for the closing, then you need to put X amount of money in escrow. Like, these are things that because you can't smell through a video, right?
Not yet.
So what, you can?
Not yet. Not yet. Not yet.
Not yet. So there's certain things that we're going to have to put into place that are going to help protect our buyers, right? Like cat pee, because Greg said cat pee, so I figure I could say cat pee.
You can.
So we just have to be creative. Yeah, we just got to be creative. So as agents, we're always our own worst obstacle. Stop saying it can't be done, because I've got 4 people here that are doing it. You know, there's like Tom Hanks says in League of Their Own, there's no crying in baseball. There's no crying in real estate. So, you know, suck it up, walk it off. Anyway, listen, this has been fun. All the feedback is amazing. People love you guys. So I appreciate you taking time to do this, and have an amazing day. And I appreciate everyone joining us, and, go make it a good one.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks, Nick.